to the cloud.
Welcome back to Homeopathy at Home with Melissa.
Hey, Bree.
Hey, Melissa. Hey. This is our first week of Materia Medica Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been really excited about this. We're just going to every other episode, so about once a month-ish, cover a remedy. So if you're familiar with the Materia Medica, it is usually a very detailed description, and all of them are different based on who wrote it. Melissa has Robin Murphy's. If you are looking, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If you can't, we have Robin Murphy. I also do. I have the 3rd edition of Robin Murphy's Materia Medica. So we're using part of his stuff, but part of just your notes, Melissa, from however many years
College.
that you've been doing this. So our first remedy is Cimicifuga.
Cimicifuga, black cohosh.
Yeah, I just learned that. That was black cohosh. And that's one of the herbs. Well, it's very controversial herb to use to induce labor, but it is one that you hear maybe in the labor world.
How funny that we're talking about this tonight when a mutual friend of ours is needing to go into labor.
Right? Her baby is just hanging out.
She needs to take Cimicifuga.
I know, right? I'll probably call her after this and be like, so how's it going? You want any help? Maybe we should do this remedy.
So Cimicifuga, let's just dig deep into this remedy, and Bree, you can just stop me and ask questions or whatever thoughts, we'll just talk about it. So Cimicifuga is great for depression. It's a great depression remedy. Anxiety. This person might feel trapped, kind of like sepia. And they might feel like they don't have any options. They don't have a plan B. They don't have any power in a situation. Maybe they're stuck in a job, or they're in a marriage or a relationship where they are powerless, and they can't even get out of there or escape. So this person might feel trapped and oppressed by a wheezing situation. So it's a bit more sepia-like. So they feel restricted by members of their family. So sepia, the woman who needs sepia is kind of disconnected from her children and her husband. She's indifferent to them. She feels almost like they're a burden, or like they're just weighing her down. She's got to do all these things, and that's not normal. So mamas, if you're feeling that way, you can take sepia or Cimicifuga, because they're very much alike, and help just lift you up and help you to come to that point of that balance of loving to do for your family, or just being connected to your family. Not that not all women are the server of their family. A lot of families break up all the responsibilities and everybody helps, but
this is more, it reminds me of the way that you feel in a situation doesn't always dictate what reality is. Like you obviously love your family and they're great and there's wonderful things, but you might still feel like that I know later on we'll get to it, that overwhelmed feeling, or just that trapped. And I was thinking through this, I don't like, trapped sounds really extreme and bad, and depression, it is a depression remedy, so that sounds extreme. But I'm thinking of my own self in situations where I'm like, oh my word, there's so much, this is heavy stuff. And I get into these moods where I'm like, there's no solution. I can't take anything out. I can't add anything in. There's nobody to help me. And it gets, I think we've all had a day or a period of time where you feel that way, like that powerless. I can't change anything to fix this or whatever.
And this might be hormonal. So if there are hormones out of balance, or there's a liver issue, then that can cause those feelings, and then the remedy will go in and bring balance, homeostasis, so that you don't you're not just feeling disconnected from your family, even though you love them.
Would you expect this to correlate with a woman's cycle?
Maybe,
For
yeah.
women maybe taking this. So like
Yeah.
if you took notes and maybe this is every week of my cycle, I tend to feel this way.
Yeah.
So it might be connected to hormones. Would
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
be okay?
Yeah. Definitely a big hormone remedy. And this person might just they feel like they just need to break free. So maybe maybe you're going into menopause or you're in menopause and you are calling your friends like, let's go to the beach. I need to get away for a weekend, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. But if you feel like that every day,
Right.
every day, you feel like I need to break free, I need to get away. That can be extreme. So they feel like they're under a heavy weight. So, I think a lot of us probably know that feeling. They just feel like there's a weight on their shoulders or on them. And sometimes they might have a lot of arthritic pains alternating with hormones.
Mhm.
So often arthritis comes along with menopause
Oh
or
yeah.
Mhm.
I'd never thought of that before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depression might be brought on by childbirth.
So
And
maybe the
that's
postpartum
cimicifuga
depression.
and sepia. Yeah, postpartum depression. Cimicifuga and sepia both have those. These are very closely related remedies.
And you would pick one of these. You would not take sepia and Cimicifuga. Okay.
That's right. So there might be a lot of crying, weeping, or telling, especially weeping or crying while she's telling her symptoms. And sepia has a lot of that. They might have a gnawing sensation in their stomach. Cimicifuga is more likely to feel a weight pushing down on them, like heavy weather, clouds pulling down, and sepia feels more pulled down from below, like gravity, like the earth is pulling them toward, down. So sepia has a pulling down sensation, and cimicifuga has a pushing down.
Pushing down. Okay.
Cimicifuga has a lot of fears about rats and delusions of rats and thoughts of rats.
So strange.
So whenever you hear somebody talking about rats a lot, you might think of cimicifuga. In the case of the gnawing feeling in their stomach, that's like gnawing. That's what rats do, is they gnaw and they chew on
Oh,
things,
yeah.
right?
See, this is so funny. It's always funny talking through remedies like this. That is true.
After these women take cimicifuga, they feel like a cloud, like a black cloud has been lifted.
And that's something somebody would say.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the cloud's been lifted. You mean you've heard that before?
Yeah.
So that's something really good to remember.
Excuse me. So this depression can look a little bit like Ignatia. So they can have ailments from disappointed love, sadness, intense sighing. There can be insomnia. And Dr. Hales, Materia Medica says, when melancholy is accompanied by sleeplessness, I've often found the cure in cimicifuga. So if someone is depressed and an insomniac at the same time, this is a remedy that might benefit them. There might be a tendency to have these alternating states like depression, and can alternate with a higher energy exalted state. cheerful, alternating with sadness. Physical symptoms can also alternate with depression, particularly joint pain. They can alternate between loquaciousness and taciturn, it's an old word, where they don't want to speak. So they don't want to
Yeah, like
speak.
that melancholy type, like
Yeah.
really subdued.
So when I hear changeable symptoms like that, I often think of pulsatilla first.
Yeah.
I remember Cimicifuga also.
Yeah, this is a new, and it's funny, kind of ironic. I was just looking into this, and it is closely related to some of those, to pulsatilla and sepia.
Yeah. So hormones and liver. So Cimicifuga is foreboding. So they feel like something bad is going to happen. They have this feeling of doom. They sense that something terrible is about to happen. They might have anxiety. I don't know. They might say something like, I don't know what it is, but a disaster is going to happen. They feel this anxiety with agitation. They don't know what they don't, excuse me, they don't know what they want to do. So they're pacing. They have this great restlessness beside themselves and agitated. So the agitation combined with insomnia is Cimicifuga. Melancholy combined with insomnia is also Cimicifuga. They have a fear of going crazy.
This is what, like reading this, I'm like, man, people have been there where you think I am going nuts.
Yeah.
Like where and I love in here that it says, if they're saying, I expect you to think I'm crazy, and it's wanting you to say back that it's totally normal, you're not crazy. And that is, I mean, everybody is, you probably experienced this, like I said before, but somebody who's in this state a lot,
Yeah.
that is it's relatable, I should say.
Yeah. And there's a great fear around it, like so afraid I'm going to go crazy, have to be put in a place. What's it called?
Insane asylum, or like a,
I was
like,
thinking, what is
or, yeah, and that's like extreme. I mean, I don't even know if they have those. They don't have those anymore.
that? So they really worry about their loss of reason. They have a fear of dementia. And they might be trapped. There might be a trapped feeling because of them looking after their elderly parent who has dementia. So they feel, so Cimicifuga can also help the person who feels trapped, because if you've ever been the caretaker of an elderly person with dementia, they take 100% of your time and energy,
Right.
and they don't sleep at night. They get their days and nights mixed up, so you're not sleeping. If you start to feel trapped, like you can't go on vacation, you can't just run to the store, you can't go spend whatever time with other family members or friends or whatever, you feel trapped. So there are many people who take care of elderly, but they just do it and they're fine doing it. And it's not that you feel trapped and you're also resentful, but if you just constantly have that feeling of, I literally can't do anything and go anywhere, then you might could benefit from Cimicifuga. They can be claustrophobic. They can be suspicious. It's a very suspicious remedy.
I thought later or further down, it talks about just the suspicion even being like, are these remedies going to work, or are they safe, or something like that. What do you call it? It's not what I would normally think of suspicious, but just skeptical.
Skeptical. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word I thought of when I read some of the more in detailed differentials.
So, like we said, that this remedy can be very loquacious. So that's, they're very talkative, but not as witty as lachesis. So lachesis is very loquacious, but they're also very witty. And so Cimicifuga is not as witty. They're just very talkative. And sometimes they're very withdrawn and refuse to answer. Then sometimes it's the opposite. They don't want to talk. So they might look a bit like lachesis from both of those things, and the suspiciousness and the fear that people are trying to poison them.
Wow.
Mhm.
I don't know anybody who said that to me in the past like 100 years, that I think somebody's gonna poison me. So if somebody says that, you probably think very specifically.
Yep.
One of these remedies. Yeah.
Mhm. Some of the physical symptoms of Cimicifuga are worse before their period. They may have pains in their uterus or from hip to hip.
Mm.
Dysmenorrhea may go into their back or down their thighs. When they're a bit depressed with their periods, they feel very gloomy. They might have a sense of doom.
So is this one, you would use this acutely maybe for menstrual pain, like your period cramps?
Yeah.
And so like sepia, you don't take when you're on your period. So is Cimicifuga, you can.
Right.
It seems like it's for that kind of pain.
That's true.
Okay. Which
Yeah.
makes sense if it's black cohosh. Okay. This is making sense to me.
Good. That's a good, very good observation. So if you're taking sepia to uproot the condition, then you might use Cimicifuga while you're on your period to help. Very good. They might have a sense of doom with lots of sighing, like Ignatia. They're worse around ovulation. So, when all these symptoms come up around ovulation, that's a different time, right? In the cycle, you might think Cimicifuga, but also sepia. Sepia is for that too. With neuralgic pains and tiredness and debility around the ovulation period. This is a big remedy for arthritis and rheumatism. It's particularly good for arthritis and rheumatism around menopause. So like I said,
like you said,
those things can come up around menopause. And so Cimicifuga is a great one for that. And then neck and shoulders are affected. There might be muscular soreness affecting the neck and the shoulders, and sometimes an aching in the belly of the muscle, which is the center of the big muscles.
And this is talking about the center of your neck and shoulder muscles.
Or any of the big muscles, I think, too.
Okay.
So often they can have Achilles tendonitis. It can be tight and sore. And they might have a backache that goes into the thighs and feels stiff. And their neck is often stiff and might crack.
This is a big remedy.
It is. It's an awesome one that actually I've never used for myself.
You have used it?
I have not, but I probably could have used it. I probably might actually use it soon. I'm really liking this one. So some general symptoms of Cimicifuga are chilly. They're usually chilly and thirsty, restless, rheumatic. Again, a big hormonal remedy, and worse for cold, damp, and alcohol. Yesterday here in North Carolina, it was cold and raining, and it literally drove me crazy. To be cold and wet
it's awful.
It's awful. And I was thinking about that last night. I was thinking I literally would rather be burning hot, anything.
Yeah.
Cold and wet.
I am the same way. And I remind myself of that when I'm boiling here in Florida. I can change my mind in 3 seconds where I'm thinking I'm not cold and I'm not wet from snow or rain.
Oh,
I'm warm.
When I sit out in the sun, I literally, every time I sit in the sun and the sun is shining on my face, I literally say, thank you, Jesus, for the sun. God, I thank you so much. I'm so thankful for the sun when I get to feel it on my face. So yeah, that when it's raining, I don't want to go anywhere. Just really how much I hate it. So anyway.
Well, there you go. Maybe Cimicifuga is a great one for you to consider. Didn't you just say your shoulders been bothering you?
Yeah, it just started tonight. I was like, what? I don't know if you've noticed, I've been like all night, like doing weird stuff. Yeah. Okay, so very useful in menopause and puberty. Also around pregnancy and especially postnatal depression.
Mm.
So Cimicifuga has the most depression and probably more anxiety. They have a lot of depression, anxiety, but maybe less of the sense of what's the point of me, right? So there are some remedies, kind of like Met. They're just like, what's the point? Why am I here? I don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
That's not Cimicifuga.
Okay.
Cimicifuga has the depression and anxiety, but they don't have that sense of there's no point in being here.
Yeah.
All right. You hear my dog?
Yeah. He wants attention.
Okay, so let's see.
This remedy can't, so I know we've been talking a lot about women and woman hormones, female hormones, but this also can be used for men.
Talk about that.
So just women in general have a more complex hormonal system than men.
Mhm.
So in general, we talk about these more with hormone stuff. We do talk about women more because of just the nature of how we are created. So they might be more likely that you're going to see more women experiencing these things than men. But that, like the black cloud weighing down on him, some of that, I'm going back up here to other, like that suspicion or the skepticism or the foreboding. I mean, that's all stuff men will experience.
Yep.
We're talking about a lot of the physical stuff that relates more to the female hormones, but these can definitely be used for men as well.
Yeah. So so the depression and hormone issues together, Cimicifuga in the man, Cimicifuga can be a great remedy for those. And when you're trying to decide on remedies, when you start to differentiate, so we've talked about how close Cimicifuga and sepia are together, right? They're a lot alike. When you go to start looking up remedies and trying to figure out which remedy you need, you need to have at least three of your symptoms found within that remedy. And we call it the three-legged stool. So if you have a two-legged stool, it's going to topple over, right? The three-legged stool is sturdy. And and so you want to have three symptoms that are covered in that remedy, at least. So you're likely going to have more, but we don't have to match it 100%. So we're not looking for 100% match. We're looking for at least three symptoms.
And are you looking for some of those more bold ones, or, not just like, because some can get so specific, like sore shoulder, you know what I mean? It talks about pain in your shoulder. Do you want to look for more specific?
Not necessarily.
Not always.
So not necessarily, but what I'm thinking is, what you'll do is write down, Cimicifuga and sepia at the top of the paper, and you'll start listing your symptoms that are found in the Materia Medica under each of those remedies that match you. The longest list wins. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. When you're trying to differentiate between remedies, you read them in the Materia Medica, the one that matches the most. But if you're really liking Cimicifuga and you're like, wow, this sounds good, but you can only find two of your symptoms in the whole thing, it's not your remedy.
Okay, now it does come to mind for me when I think about Cimicifuga, this one would, if I having horrible cramping and I feel it in my back, down my legs, I don't think that's a situation where you need to really go to your Materia Medica and think really deep about sepia or another one or this. That could be a situation where you
just do it.
See that and you're like, okay, I can just take that remedy.
That's right.
But when we're talking especially chronic or hormonal stuff,
yes,
to do a little bit more digging than just pick one and try it.
That's good. Absolutely.
Okay, that was good. I learned a lot.
Is that it? So the rest of those notes are our sample cases, which we're not going to do. So yeah, that's good. That's Cimicifuga.
Yeah.
Um,
It does seem like this one is good for maybe just to look into. I know when you're feeling postpartum depression, this is not really a time where you want to go deep into learning a lot of extra things.
mhm.
But it does talk about that feeling of being trapped by your baby, and I know that's hard to say when you're in that situation, but really that's not normal, like you said.
Yeah.
So to consider that, and that's okay. There are things you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Yes. So we'll do next week, we'll just do a regular episode, or in 2 weeks, we'll do a regular episode. And then we'll do another Materia Medica Monday in the future, in a few weeks or something. So I hope you enjoyed Cimicifuga. If you want to learn more about taking case management, get the mentorship program, you
Yes.
can grab that on my website, look under the courses, and you can find all my courses there on the website.
You know what? And in your mentorship program book, she has a workbook that comes with it. It
Mhm.
has pages for many of the remedies we're probably going to cover
So you can
to keep your notes in. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Ooh, you want me to show it to you?
Yeah. If you're on YouTube, it's very beautiful. Oh, I usually keep it in here. It's really pretty. And I just printed mine at home on like a little bit better quality paper. And you put your spiral bound. Wow, that's so pretty.
So I had this printed
Got it
for me, and
printed.
yes,
I
it's
know.
bound. It is beautiful. But look, it's full color. I don't know. I mean,
Oh,
it's
you
just,
did double-sided too.
yeah, it's 100-page workbook, full color. These are the pages that she was talking about where we're going to go through remedies and you can make your notes. And this down here is for when you think of people in your family
Mhm.
that need
That
this
was so
remedy.
smart.
Because while you're writing it, you're going to be like, that's Grace.
Uh-huh.
And so you write them down there. It is so beautiful. The color, it's just so, I love color. So I know most people who print a workbook try to make it more black and white or whatever, but I
No, it's
can't.
so nice. And you did like the fonts pretty. It really is a pretty book. It's fun. I almost don't want to write in it because my writing is like
I know.
not as pretty as the book. So use like a Sharpie pen, do something pretty, but it is a beautiful book and it has a lot of good, even reproducible pages, like a case
That's right.
taking, family case record,
That's right.
remedy chart. Like you put a lot of good stuff in there.
Health chart, timeline. I had fun making this. I had a lot of fun making this. What is your why? You need to remember why you're using homeopathy. You need to write down what is your why. So when things get tough, you can go look at that and be like, oh yeah,
Yep.
that's why. All right.
Thank you
for
so
letting me share
much.
that. Yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks.
All right. See you guys later.